You're not being told the truth about raw meat versus cooked meat. That's why I've decided to make this video. So even if at the very least you do decide to continue to eat cooked meat, I just want you guys to be well aware of the damage that you are actively causing to your bodies by doing so. Literally, eating cooked meat is going to worsen your health, make you uglier, make you age faster, and increase the rate at which you accumulate chronic disease and illness. I know this may sound controversial and it's hard to believe, especially when we've been told all throughout our lives that cooking is what actually makes meat safe to consume, and that raw meat is dirty, dangerous, and obviously should never be eaten. But I want you guys to toss that belief aside right away and realize that it hasn't actually come from objective science. It's come from fear, programming, and half-truths which have ultimately led to outright lies. My name is Mason. I've been eating an exclusively raw animal-based diet for the last 5 years, meaning raw meat, raw eggs, raw dairy, even rotten meat, even raw chicken, and it completely transformed my health. I'm in the top 1% for testosterone health. Because of this diet, I was able to go to 6'5" after the age of 18. My skin's clear, my hair's healthy, and I feel great every single day. And I'm not even some sort of magical exception. I've got hundreds of members inside my school community who are all seeing the same great benefits. So yeah, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down a lot of the myths, misconceptions, and actually sharing with you guys the actual truth behind why raw meat is far superior to cooked meat, and why you today, starting tomorrow, whatever, should actually begin consuming raw meat. Okay, so the first big fear a lot of people have about raw meat is the salmonella, the E. coli, the pathogenic bacteria that can be found on the surface of the meats. The mainstream health narrative tells us to fear these bacteria outright. They tell us that these bacteria are inherently, innately harmful to our bodies, but this blanket statement is a complete lie. The truth of the matter is that these bacteria actually act as janitors inside the body. They simply clean out dead, degenerative, toxic tissues and cells that we otherwise wouldn't be able to remove on our own. So when you get, say, a lot of salmonella into your body, you simply just experience the symptom of runny stool as the benefit of the bacteria cleaning you out. It's for this same reason why, which is well recognized by modern science, two people can both have the exact same pathogenic bacteria, yet only one of those people, if any of them, may actually elicit symptoms. So it's what's called the asymptomatic patient mystery. Science knows it's there, but they can't actually explain the mechanism by which two people can have, supposedly dangerous pathogens in their body, yet only one of them will actually show the symptoms. And this alone already pulls apart their whole argument. Aside from helping to facilitate bioremediation, so the cleaning out of your internal terrain, these bacteria help to facilitate a whole lot of other biological processes. For example, E. coli produces vitamin K2, which helps our bone and skeletal health, as well as it helps in the aiding of our digestive process, meaning our bodies won't have to exert so much digestive effort, as the bacteria will help to pre-digest the food that comes in through. So yeah, the big issue with the mainstream argument is that they are positing the claim that bacteria is inherently and innately harmful to our bodies. Yet what we're also seeing in the scientific journals are plenty of evidence that they can be populations with exceptional health, exceptionally healthy people, and they can be hosting these same dangerous pathogens, seemingly eliciting zero symptoms whatsoever. So you may be thinking, yeah, Mason, that all sounds well and good, but then what actually causes food poisoning? Why was it that I had some dodgy chicken, or I had some dodgy sashimi that one time, and I felt like complete shit the next day? What else could it have possibly been? I'm going to explain it very, very simply. I'm going to dumb it down a little bit. Food poisoning is literally poison in the food. So it simply is your body responding to and rapidly detoxing accumulated toxins in the tissues of the animals. So vaccine adjuvants accumulating in ruminant animals, toxic fats, oils, and pesticides in low quality farm fish, plastic and chemical cleaning residues just on the meat from the packaging and processing that it's gone through. It's these things that actually trigger a food poisoning response, not the bacteria themselves. So going back to that janitor analogy, when they actually test the stool of someone who's experienced food poisoning, what they'll see is obviously an elevated level of, say, salmonella or E. coli, but what they fail to consider is in the testing, the report also shows elevated levels of these food-borne toxins. So the heavy metals, chemical residues, medication residues, these things that really shouldn't be directly ingested are the culprit, and the bacteria are merely helping to facilitate our own cleaning and saving us. So yeah, obviously I've been eating the raw animal foods for the last 5 years. I've not been sick once, and simply is because I take a lot of care in my food sourcing. You're more likely to get sick from a salad than you are to get sick from high quality raw meat. And this is the cognitive dissonance that most people don't actually put their finger on and realize. So yeah, I mean, the big idea is that we really shouldn't be fearful of any kinds of bacteria whatsoever. It's only going to be the industrial toxins and poisons that cause harm to our organism. We can look at our ancestors and ethnic groups all throughout history, such as the Inuit, the Nennet, the Maasai, or even the Italians, the Germans, all these groups that have traditionally eaten fermented meat products. So clearly right away, they haven't had any fear of an increase in bacterial load, and they've been fine despite the perceived medical risks. I'm covered in bacteria, you're covered in bacteria. We have bacteria all over and inside our bodies. If it were truly dangerous, we'd all be dead a long, long time ago. So yeah, now moving on from addressing the food poisoning myth, what are we actually missing out on and losing when we expose our nice, juicy, raw steaks to heinous cooking temperatures? Basically, in the heat mutilation, over 32 toxic compounds are going to be created, including carcinogens, heterocyclic amines, AGEs, all these compounds that are objectively proven to increase rates of disease, dysfunction, toxin burden, and metabolic disease in human bodies. You can think of it like putting your hand on a grill. Obviously, when you take it off, the skin's going to be mutilated. It won't be able to feel and function in the same way. That is effectively what you're doing to the nutrients in a nice raw steak every single time you cook it. Sure, yes, there are going to be some nutrients that our bodies can still derive, but there are significantly less. Water-soluble vitamins are going to be evaporated. Proteins will be folded to become more indigestible. Minerals are going to be cauterized. Fats are going to be oxidized. And also, obviously, all of the beneficial bacteria and enzymes will all be destroyed. Which leads me on to my next point. One of the next biggest issues with eating cooked meat over raw meat is that it is far heavier on digestion. This is something I can personally attest to. It's something anyone you ask who eats raw meat can attest to. It's something you guys can probably even attest to if you've ever eaten some sashimi, some tartar, some carpaccio, or even if you're eating the raw meat yourself. You'll know that raw meat digests super effortlessly. There's no bloating, there's no heaviness, there's no brain fog. You have none of the digestive issues that you would previously have with a cooked burnt steak. And this is due to a process called autolysis. So because the raw meat has naturally occurring enzymes already in its flesh and tissue, when you expose the cells and the enzymes to our digestive juices, these enzymes can pre-digest and self-digest the meat on its own without our bodies needing to excrete excessive digestive juices. What this means is obviously we're going to be retaining more digestive energy. Our digestion will be lighter, smoother. We're going to have more energy. It's not going to take any energy away from our bodies, which in a big term thermodynamic perspective cause us to live longer. Another great benefit of eating the raw meat, which again I can attest to, anyone who eats raw foods can attest to, is that it is super hydrating. Obviously, the raw meat is completely full of bioavailable structured deuterium depleted water. Literally approximately 70 to 75% of meat is going to be water. And because that water is bound to nutrients, bound to minerals, it is in the most bioavailable form. What this means is you don't need to supplement your hydration. You don't need to be drinking any shitty tap water. You don't need to be spending excess money on buying like some good quality spring water, simply because when you just stop cooking your meat and you stop being retarded and mutilating all of your food, you actually get the benefit of obviously satiating your nutritional needs, but also your hydration needs. Again, it sounds pretty crazy to say, but I can go weeks and months without having any water whatsoever simply because I'm eating a lot of the raw food. So I'm eating the raw meats, some raw eggs as well, a little bit of raw dairy, but all of that keeps me completely hydrated because it is that much more bioavailable and utilizable by the body compared to, fluoridated tap water that is actually just draining you more of minerals and leaving you more dehydrated than you were before you drank the shitty water. Another pretty baseless claim that people make about raw meat versus cooked meat is they argue that cooked meat was actually responsible for our evolution as humans. This is retarded for a few reasons. Firstly, when you look at any animal that has had a dietary input be responsible for their evolution, you will always see that they become dependent on that food. For example, pandas and bamboo. If pandas stop eating bamboo, they will literally die. With humans and cooked meat, that is not the case. In fact, we're healthier when we're eating raw meat. So how could it possibly have prompted our evolution? And then also you can just look at everything that I've already said in this video and see that raw meat is objectively healthier, is less destructive, is less harmful than cooked meat. So how would cooked meat, this mutilated substance, actually trigger benefits and positive adaptation in the body? Now, one thing that most people honestly don't consider is it's literally only been the last 100, 200 years that us humans have really been properly cooking our meat and been eating more or less an exclusively all cooked diet. Before then, dishes such as tartar, ceviche, carpaccio, sashimi, were all really prominent globally. But it's like now, actually, maybe I'll even say in the last 50 years, that people have really began to love searing and mutilating their meats. What we also interestingly see at the same time as we cook our foods more and more is that us as humans are degenerating and becoming more sicker, infertile, weaker, worse developed as a species. I would say this is very similar to the famous study of Pottinger's cats. So basically, Dr. Francis Pottinger facilitated an experiment with over 900 cats over 4 generations. He had multiple groups of cats. He fed one of the groups of cats a diet of cooked meat and pasteurized dairy, another group of cats raw meat and raw dairy, and he observed the health in their offspring. What he found in the group eating exclusively raw foods was that their health remained consistent. They stayed strong, sharp, smart, quick, agile, and lived long and healthily over the course of 4 generations, compared to in the cooked and pasteurized dairy group, which by the first generation, their fur was already becoming more brittle, their skulls were already beginning to shrink, and then by the 3rd generation, they actually couldn't give birth to healthy litters. So the cats of this cooked group, they would try to reproduce, they'd try to give birth, and the babies would come out stillborn. So they'd come out already dead. I give this example not to necessarily say that we are the same as cats. We can use this example to draw comparisons between what happened to the cats once they got onto a evolutionarily inappropriate diet and the disease and degeneration that they saw to what we are seeing today nowadays with humans. Obviously, we're shorter, we're uglier, we're more bald, our skulls are shrinking, and people have the audacity to say that we are evolving. Obviously, our technology is improving, we're becoming more knowledgeable per se, but our health and our biology and our biochemistry is all on the decline, and the number one factor for that is our diet. So yeah, I will say if you do already enjoy some sashimi, steak tartare, a nice rare blue steak, some carpaccio, or like any actual raw dish, even like just eating mayonnaise which has raw eggs, I would highly encourage you guys to try out for yourself eating these foods for a more strict, prolonged basis. And you will notice all of the benefits that I briefly mentioned in this video: the easier digestion, sharper cognitive function, less bloating, less water retention in the face, you're going to look better, you're going to feel better, you're going to live longer, and you'll actually become addicted to this lifestyle the same way I did. So don't go into this thinking that you need to stick with it for the next 5 years. Try it for a week or 2, try it for a month, try it for 21 days, and I promise you'll actually enjoy it so much you'll want to continue to eat raw meats on a regular basis. But yeah, guys, if you are seriously interested in starting up this diet and lifestyle for yourself, you want to see the benefits, whether they are the aesthetic benefits, the health benefits, the longevity benefits, any of it, or even just having a really cool, unique diet that makes you stand out socially, then I would recommend you guys check out the first link in the description of this video, which is going to be to my school community. In there, I have a full comprehensive course breaking down exactly how to start the diet as a complete beginner, how to source the food safely, how to ease into it, the do's and don'ts, as well as the more advanced guides for detoxification, healing, looks maxing, height maximization, reversing and healing disease, literally everything that you would need that a doctor would usually charge you, tens of thousands of dollars for and wouldn't even actually give you the result. I have it all inside my school community. And you also get access to myself. We do weekly group calls. You can message me privately. I promise you, unless you're actually already doing all of this stuff, there is going to be value in there that you would walk away from and that you will take with you for the rest of your life. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Eat some raw meat.